Diamond Connect sensor. Remind me of that at the end. I'll go get it out of the office, and I'll show you. I think we're good. We'll let a few people roll in here on Periscope. I got it live, and now we will. Let me see here. Is the Periscope broadcasting on Twitter? Does anybody know? I can't see it. I got 10 things going on and I can't see it, but I got it going. Matthew, what's up? Matthew Hunt hits ground balls. No, Matthew Hunt does not hit ground balls. Matthew Hunt's a guy that I train. Also, he's been here a few times. We'll let the Twitter crowd roll in. Is anybody looking at my Twitter feed? I could probably look at it and see if it is broadcasting or not. But I don't know. We didn't have a real good crowd last week on Periscope, and it was because it wasn't broadcasting for some reason. I don't know if my Twitter account got disconnected or what, but give me a couple more minutes. 9:03. We're good. We're good on time. I don't have anywhere to go. Oh, yep, we're live on Twitter. Okay, good. Let me get back over here live on Facebook and we'll get going. Okay, here's what I got to talk about. and I probably should have done it, but I didn't. It wouldn't have been that good because it was just me oohing and ahhing and laughing a lot. But the home run derby, wow, it was awesome. By far, not even close, the best exhibition in all of sports. Better than the Pro Bowl, better than the skills competition in the Pro Bowl, better than the NBA All-Star Weekend, better than NHL. The home run derby is fantastic. Loved it. If you're trying to go to practice after that and do what those guys do, by all means, do that. I think a lot of elite level swings were developed off of guys trying to act like guys in the home run derby, and we don't give kids opportunities to do that anymore. You got to just go out in your yard and pretend you're somebody. Hit it over the fence. Elevate the ball. It's not real hard, but it was awesome. Aaron Judge is amazing. Actually, I got a new online client this week from Rochester that is friends and acquaintances with Aaron, and said Aaron swings a 37-inch, 35-ounce. I thought that was incredible. It's like a fungo. It's like a fungo. No wonder he can hit it. He's 6'7", 280, and swings a 37, 35-inch bat. No wonder he can hit the ball 500 feet. But yeah, really, really good. Enjoyed it. Should have done a live feed, but it wouldn't have been very. Yeah, it wouldn't have been very interesting for anybody because it would have just been me laughing and giggling like a little 12-year-old girl a lot. But it was good. I enjoyed it, and I'm sure all of you all enjoyed it too. If you follow my narrative and you follow my coaching philosophy, you know by now that I'm pro hitting the ball up in the air, driving the ball up in the air, hitting doubles, triples, and homers. That's what wins ball games. Bunting and backside singles does not. You hit enough doubles, triples, and homers, you're going to beat everybody. So, I don't know if you saw this on my Instagram page this week. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw it. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram. It kind of set fire in the Facebook world too. But the Miguel Cabrera spray chart, and I posted that as an example of a guy that gets a lot of base hits over the infield. I just killed my Instagram feed. But I posted it as an illustration of a guy that gets a lot of base hits over the infield. And to no surprise of mine, here comes the Facebook crowd and here comes the Instagram crowd about how small guys and little guys shouldn't elevate the ball. That's not true. That's not true. If you're a little guy and people are telling you or if you're a small guy, even if you're a big guy and you don't hit the ball very hard, that doesn't mean you should swing down on the ball by any means. Let's go for just a second and let's just assume that all the data and all the analytics about the ball in the air being productive, and let's just say that's wrong. And let's just say I'm wrong. Let's say my whole entire philosophy developed off of the data is wrong. You still can't explain that downward plane of pitch and matching with upward plane of swing doesn't make sense. Whether you're a big guy, whether you're a small guy, whether you're a power guy, whether you are whatever you are as a player, matching plane of swing and plane of pitch just makes more sense. Even if we're all wrong about the ball in the air, which we're not, so don't panic. Driving the ball in the air is the better way to do it. But when you get these trolling people on the internet, the ground ball gurus, I call them, they want to talk about how if you're not 6'4" and 240, you shouldn't hit the ball in the air, and that's not true. Everybody needs to match the plane of the pitch. Everybody needs to match incoming plane of pitch. That's just the way it has to be. Now, there are certain absolutes that will go within that, but the conversation was with Cabrera. If you're not 6'4" and 240 and you're not Miguel Cabrera, you shouldn't be hitting the ball in the air. That's not true. That's not true. But then, off of that, there were several conversations. I mean, the post on Instagram got 100,000 impressions. It was crazy. But then the discussion, which is an interesting discussion, and I don't take either side because it doesn't matter to me which one. But who, and I posted it as the best hitter of the past 15 years. And then that also turns into a firestorm of Miguel Cabrera versus Albert Pujols. Again, Pujols is probably better. That doesn't mean for any stretch of the imagination that Miguel Cabrera is not good. It's like a be-all, end-all on the internet. Like you have to have a side. And so, again, Pujols is amazing. Pujols is one of, if you study swings and you want to dig into Dustin Lynn's swing library, I encourage you greatly to spend some time on Albert Pujols, because Pujols is a guy who it's an interesting of a study of a baseball swing as there is. I don't think there's anybody more interesting to watch the way they swing the bat than Albert Pujols. It's really, really fantastic. I also appreciate Miguel Cabrera. He's been fantastic for 15 years. Those two guys are really the poster children of the last 15 years of hitters. They're really, really good. But yeah, swing library is awesome. Dustin Lynn, it's at hitting. I think somebody on Twitter, Instagram. I think it's hitting_video or hitting video. I'm not, but dig into that. If you're interested in the science and baseball swings, on Twitter, Dustin Lynn hitting his Google Drive. How it's still free, I have no idea, but it is fantastic. I spend most of my vacation. I spent most of my vacations in his library. Him and Jerry Brewer. Those guys are really, really fun. I could do YouTube videos, but it would just be a lot of regurgitation of what they already have said. So I don't do that. I just go to this live Q&A format, and it works really, really good on Periscope and Instagram, Facebook. There's nobody there, but it's fine. We'll be all good. It's all good. But Miguel Cabrera and Pujols. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Whoever you like, you like. Point is, hit the ball over the infield. You will be more successful hitting the ball over the infield than in the infield, and you will be most successful hitting the ball over the outfield. So, when you're practicing, start with that outcome. Yeah, there. Somebody shared it on Instagram, the link to Dustin Lynn's swing library, hitting library. It's awesome. It's incredible. So here was so here's my first coaching point of the evening. is my philosophy, and a lot of what I do now is external intent, letting external intent govern swing patterns. So when you get into all these talks on Twitter all week and Instagram all week and some Facebook, some. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I am there too a little bit, trying to engage with people. Most people on Facebook, more so than even Instagram and Twitter, they just want to argue about who's got more perfect game titles and who's put the most guys in college, and it's just not useful. It's just not useful to the narrative for the individual player to find value in what they're doing. But what you get a lot of times is when you take a stance on hitting and hitting philosophy, you always get the guy that says, well, give me a guy that can compete and I'll win with him, which doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, I mean, that means something. You know, you get in there to compete. Everybody's got that. But mostly what I find, and mostly the questions that I get, DM, inbox every day, text messages, emails, is guys want to know how to drive balls, hit balls harder and farther. You know, those guys, compete guys is that's fine, that's well and good, but what I do is create measurable feedback. And in doing that, I think the external intent approach is a much better approach philosophically for compete guy than internal cueing, because when external intent is governing of your swing and swing pattern, then you can go in a box free, and you can go in a box and not think and compete, okay? Because we don't spend a lot of time, I don't spend a lot of time giving players internal cues of how their swings and positions in their swing should feel to them. I just don't do it. I don't use terms like stay inside the ball, and I have in the past. I promise you, I've been there. And if you're there, turn the corner, because there's better ways to get outcomes, I promise you. But I don't spend a lot of time internally cueing guys anymore. I don't talk to them about how their swing should feel specific to them. What we do is we outline the basic parameters. We give them the constraint drills. We give them the thought process, and we tell them, go execute the ball in the air. And then this is kind of the next point of something that somebody brought up on Twitter. But then they have to go in, and a lot of the conversations we have, they're not revolving around the swing, but they're revolving around the timing of the swing, okay? Because timing becomes the real conversation that most players need to have. They don't need me to tell them how to swing a bat or how to hit a ball up in the air. They'll figure that out. If you can hit a ball in the center on the ground, you can hit a ball in the center in the air. You can do that. It's not because you know, people think, well, if he's not that good and they're not that big, then they can swing down. Well, if they can swing down and hit it in the center, they can swing up and hit it in the center. External intent swing patterns. You can go out in your yard right now. Go out in your yard and get in a basic stance and try to swing straight up. Think about, I'm going to hit this ball straight up, and then get in the same stance and think to yourself, I'm going to hit this ball straight down. Your swing looks completely different, and you didn't change any mechanics per se. You just changed the intent of what you were trying to do. Now, how do you get a barrel to accelerate? How do you get a barrel to plane correctly? How do you get a barrel to do things that need to be done within a swing? But the overall swing and the governing of the swing is by and large, what outcomes are you trying to produce? And then you got to go beyond time. So that narrative kind of feels into guy that compete guy. You got to go in the box and compete. I know that. But that same guy will go and he will develop his guys from internal cueing. So now when they go into the box, they're not thinking about getting an outcome and then just being present in the moment and competing. They're thinking about, okay, I got to get my back elbow to here. I got to get my hands into here. I got to get my weight to here. Like they're thinking about all these things, these static mechanics that they need to do, and they're not thinking about competing with the guy on the mound. So they're coaching against their very point that they're trying to make. Develop your hitters from external intent. Again, hitting is not rocket science. It's not hard. It's not what a lot of people make it out to be. It's a few basic foundational points, and then go and figure it out. It's a lot of places that are overcoached, a lot of things that are overcoached that don't matter. A lot of questions that I get online are just things and parts and pieces that just don't matter a whole lot. They just don't. They don't have real value to hitters in a box with a bat in their hand trying to figure out a fastball. They don't, because all this stuff we have in here, the cages and machines and hit tracks, it's all designed to proof of concept of the training. The online training program that is online and available to you now is basically based in the same things that we do in here that we measure with the hit tracks. You may not have access to a hit track to measure your exit velocities and launch angles and just to make sure you're improving, but you have access to the programs, and I encourage you to get on them because they work. They work. Heavy bat training works. We've been into this in the previous 3 episodes. I encourage you to, if you missed the previous 3 episodes, go to my YouTube channel. They are there. You can watch them. This one will post there tomorrow or the next day whenever I can get it. I'm not as busy tomorrow, so I may get it on there tomorrow. But go to my YouTube channel, and we've talked about weighted bat training. If you've got questions about weighted bat training and you want me to answer them in the end, I will. But external intent. External intent allows you to go in the box and think about competing. Whatever that means to you, that's what it is. Internal cues and these thought processes that take the focus away from actually producing the result. They don't lend to the competing. I had an interesting conversation on Twitter one day with Jeff Leach. We were talking about Tiger Woods and how he felt that Tiger Woods lost his golf game. Not the external things outside of the game, but he lost his golf swing when he became too internal about what he was trying to make his golf swing do. When he was at his best, when he was just trying to feel and shape shots, external outcomes. It's the same philosophy. The body will organize based upon the external intent. The body will organize. I don't know and this is kind of diverging off the topic, but I posted the Florida Baseball Ranch article on my Twitter this week. I don't know if you read it. It's about long tossing and weighted ball programs. The same philosophy applies in hitting too. It was really, really, really good. The key word in it was, if your goal should not be, and this is me feeling in some parts about hitting, because this is what hitting coaches and this is what hitting coaches do. The goal of a hitting coach and your goal as a hitter should not be to create static positions. And their quote in that Baseball Ranch article was, our goal should be to create real-time, world-class adaptability. If you're training static positions and you're training perfect environment and you're training perfect swings, good luck getting that to work in a game, just messy, changing speeds, ball at your head scenario. It's not perfect, and training perfect should not be your goal. I didn't even know if I'm still running on. Can you hear me on Periscope? I'm talking, but I don't know if you can hear me or not. So, anybody hear me? Does the sound good? Are we getting comments? Can you hear me on Instagram? We're going to keep going. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but we're going to go. Comments on Periscope? Anybody? I don't think we're running on Instagram. Can anybody hear me? Instagram is good. Okay. You guys can hear me. Can anybody hear me on Facebook? Yes. Okay, good. I didn't know if we were good or not. We're going to keep going. Okay, here was a question I posted on Twitter today. Anybody had any questions they wanted me to cover in this, I will cover them. Here was a good one. Guy said, can you talk about the role of your hand? What is the role of your hands in your swing? It's a great topic, because a lot of people are hands to the ball, knob to the ball. This is a simple thing. This is a really, really simple thing. And if you've spent any time with swing sensors, swing technology, here is, I'm gonna grab a bat. Hang on a minute. This PVC will suffice for what I'm going to do with it. So when you push your hands in there, okay, every swing has a bottom of the swing arc in it, okay? So the further I push my pivot out in front of my body, the further I'm pushing my swing arc out in front of me, okay? Meaning I've now moved the upward arc of my swing further out in front of me, if at all. You know, if you get upward swing arc at all, it is now really, really far out in front of you, okay? So that's the simple answer. That's why the hands are not an active accelerator of the barrel. You hit the ball with the barrel, not the knob. I posted it on Twitter this week. Your hands, the role of your hands are this. You hold the bat, and then they can act as a pivoting point to the barrel, getting the barrel to bottom out, the swing arc to bottom out, deeper in the zone, so that now the entire part of your hitting, in the hitting zone, from the center of your body out, is on the upward plane. So you can hit the ball anywhere from kind of the center of your stance out and get the ball up into the air. If you push your hands and you jam the knob in there and you get kind of past this pivot point over your back hip, then you've moved the bottom of your swing arc out. You've moved the bottom of your swing arc forward. You've moved the upward plane of your swing arc out. Good luck hitting the ball out there all the time. I did that as a player. That was my fault, and that's the fault of a lot of guys who get told straight to the ball, you know, straight at it. You move the bottom of your swing arc out, and then when pitches get fast, you can never. That's why Aaron Judge was like that. Aaron Judge was kind of a pushy guy who fought for space out in front of him, and he could never get to a good place with the bottom of his swing like he is now. Look at where the bottom of his swing arc is now. He is not jamming the knob in there. He is not pushing his hands to it. He is getting himself loaded into space, okay, and then he is turning and pivoting the barrel behind the ball deep and early. The hands are not an active accelerator of the barrel. I say this a lot to players is if you want to talk about the role of the hands, they are the steering wheel of the car. If they are anything, they provide some direction and adjustability of the barrel, and that is it. If you want the car to go forward, you don't press the steering wheel through the engine. You have to press the gas, which is loading around your back hip, loading around your dominant hip, and getting your backside and back hip accelerated. But yeah, so if you mess around with swing sensors, you would know that. I don't know how every player, every coach in America doesn't have a swing sensor in their pocket. Carlton asked me about the Diamond Kinetics. I'll show you the Diamond Kinetics when we get to the end. But you would see that, like if you move the tee inside your stance and you've got a pushy barrel, you'll never get that thing upward on an upward swing angle, attack angle. You'll get it on a -10, -12, -20, and you got this big high finish. You say, I don't know why I can't get it up on an upward arc. Well, it's because you're moving the bottom of your swing arc forward, and now the upward part of your swing is way beyond where you're hitting the ball, if it is at all. Most people get in there and cut themselves off anyway, so now the bottom of your swing arc is just in an impossible place, or the upward plane of your swing is in an impossible place to get to, especially against good fastballs. That goes for baseball and softball. Softball's worse than baseball. There's more pushy swings in softball, way more pushy, knobby swings in softball than there is in baseball, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot in baseball, because that's what a lot of people teach and do. They teach jam the knob in there, past the parallel point, changing the bottom of the swing arc, changing the upward arc in the swing, and you can never get the ball. If you get the ball in the air, it's cut and spinning, and it's overspinning, and it's just ballooning, or you're smashing high exit velocity balls that are barreled into the ground, neither of which are good. So that was one of the questions that was on Twitter. If I could talk about the role of the hands. Is everybody good with that? It's pretty simple. If you push your hands in there, you're changing the bottom of your swing arc. Everybody got that? Yeah. Hey, Chandler, what's up? Another one on Twitter was timing and being adjustable. Timing and being adjustable is a more complicated matter than what is the role of the hands. Timing is individual to everyone. Okay, you have to find a load that is specific to your movement profile. Not how you want to load, not how you've watched on TV and you like, this is how I want to. Doesn't work that way. If you're a loose, hypermobile guy like Josh Donaldson, then you maybe need some more movement to get your slack out to allow the kinetic chain to unwind properly. If you're a tight guy like Chase Utley or Paul Goldsmith or even Albert Pujols, a guy that's wound a little tighter that doesn't have a whole lot of slack in there, then you may be a guy that doesn't have to make a whole lot of movement. But that is on you to figure out. And a lot of guys just make loading patterns based upon that's what they want to do, not that's how they move correctly. So that is part of timing. Now, I'll start with the hardest thing to time, which is a leg kick, and this is pretty easy to talk about. It's not as easy to execute, but it's pretty easy to talk about. In that, I'm getting like no comments on Periscope, but I guess we're good. I don't know. We'll keep going. But you talk about timing a leg kick, and this is pretty easy to talk about, not as easy to execute. But timing a leg kick is just simply getting to the top of your leg kick, as depending upon the speed of the pitcher certainly, but getting to the top of your leg kick as the pitcher's letting the ball go. So everything that you are doing out of the pitcher's hand is offensive. It's not you're still winding and you're still loading as the ball's coming at you. Okay, we want to be to the top of the leg kick. Okay, good. I haven't gotten a comment. Somebody just commented you're good on Periscope. I haven't gotten a comment in a while, so I don't know if the sound's good or we're running or whatever, but we're good. So we're going to keep going. But timing a leg kick is just simply timing the top. Don't worry about your foot going down. Don't worry about trying to time your foot down. The point is this: try to time whatever you're going to do. Whatever you're going to do, you've got to find out how you're going to time yourself into kind of an attacking position. Whether it's a big leg kick where you're timing the top of it with the releasing of the ball. Again, that's against guys that are better. Okay, we're talking about velocities that are better, not against guys that have like gravity still taking over their fastball. That's different. Okay, if you're 10 and you see this guy, just hang out, wait, and then start. But for everybody else that's seen pretty good fastballs, you've got to time the top and then hunt fastball, specifically fastball up, and be ready to do damage with it. Posting a video for that tomorrow. Posting a video about what? Timing the top of your leg kick? Yeah. Just send it to, tag me or something on Twitter, and I'll retweet it. I like to share good content, so I'll retweet it. But yes, timing. Whatever the move is you're going to make, it has to be specific to you. Not what you want to do, but it has to be specific to your movement profile, whatever that is. Okay, I've got guys, I don't tell people how to load. I don't tell people, well, you have to leg kick. I don't tell them. A lot of people want to do it. We try to figure it out. It works for some. They figure out pretty quickly, this is not going to work for me. I got to do something else. But I like for them to go there a little bit just to figure out, okay, and then work off of that. The other thing was being adjustable. Being adjustable is just merely buying yourself time. And one of my online clients sent me a picture of his kid taking a pitch today. And you can kind of tell a lot about taking a pitch and how the barrel is accelerating rearward. That is really kind of the key to being adjustable. Is that, are you buying yourself time deep enough to adjust to pitch variance? If you're slamming everything forward, then you have a very little window of adjustability. But if you can get the barrel accelerated behind you, however that is based upon your handset and forearm position, then you've bought yourself time in a turn to shut it down, to adjust high-low, to adjust in. I mean, really, I think the major adjustment inside of the swing is in-out more than high-low. High-low is going to be more side bend and shoulder plane. But getting the barrel to accelerate rearward first instead of slamming forward. If you slam forward, then you don't have any time. You have no time to adjust to anything. You've got a very small window of adjustability, and that's it. That's it. So that's timing and adjustability. I don't know if that's good enough. I'll take some questions. We haven't had a whole lot of questions in, so we kind of at the end we take questions. Here's one on Instagram. Talk about starting hand position and deep barrel turn. So hands high, hand low hands, and the differences. Certainly hand height in your setup is somewhat of a personal preference. I talk about spacing a lot. I talk about spacing of the hands between the elbows. The one place your hands can't go is outside of your back elbow. That's it. High-low, I've got some. So the high-low is an interesting conversation in I've got some younger players that want to start high, but they can't organize back and get behind it. They just go straight at it, and they just can't get their swing to work up. So we just start from a lower position, and then they have an easier time getting organized to work up and hit the ball in the air. I think it's kind of a personal preference, and kind of as a coach, you've got to say, look, like I've measured your last 700 swings from up here, and you just can't get the barrel on plane at contact. Let's lower it down and see if you can just kind of organize and sequence behind the ball and get it up in the air from there. Somebody sent me a Clint Frazier scissor kick. You see guys do that. That's two of the best hitters of the generation do it. Miguel Cabrera does it, and Mike Trout does it. Not all the time, but what it is it's just them blocking their front side and refusing their front side to leave the ball, so they don't clear their front hip, so their back hip can accelerate and move, and so their back foot kicks out. That's just kind of a natural. They're not actively kicking their foot back because they don't do it every swing, but if you really block your foot up and you've got massive angular hip velocity, then it kicks your foot back, and it just kind of scissor kicks. That's what it looks like. Trout does it. Trout does it a lot. Miguel Cabrera does it. Doesn't do it as much as Trout, but Miguel Cabrera blocks his front side up a lot and kicks and ends up kicking his foot back because he just refuses for his front side to leave the ball. Miguel Cabrera is a bit of a pusher too, which is weird as good as he is, because most people, when they push in the center of the swing, they can't keep it. They can't keep their barrel working on the same plane, but Miguel Cabrera does. Again, everybody has their. Yeah, I think Altuve does it too. Not all the time, but sometimes. Again, it's just block. I think Altuve's is a product of him stepping more at the plate and blocking himself up. I've seen video of Altuve doing that, where he steps more at the plate and he kind of blocks his hips up, and then his foot kicks out because of that. It's not an active. They're not actively trying to do that. It's just what happens when they do that, and they don't do that. I would venture to say sometimes they do that on purpose. Like when they want to stay on a ball, when Scherzer's out there throwing frisbees and they want to stay on a ball, they block their front side down and just basically kind of turn in there and shoot a ball more left center field gap for a right-handed player into the right center field gap without ever leaving the ball, without ever giving up their front side off the ball. It's not the most powerful way. It's not the most. You're not going to hit balls 500 feet, but how should I work on hip stop? I don't know if I know what you're talking about. Hip stop. I don't know where the hip would stop, and you know, as a active accelerator and loading around the back leg, the hip stops at the end of its travel. And then energy transfers up the chain. It all starts from. Would you change that on Altuve and have him stride more straight? No, I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I wouldn't actively try to change anybody that's in the big leagues from doing what they're doing unless they really. I think a lot of what needs, and you're seeing it now, and you're seeing it. And we talked about this, I think, in the first episode, and that's a good question, is the wire home runs up. And we talked about the ball maybe juiced a little, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But we also talked about how data has given us information where guys aren't afraid to change their intent. I think a lot of it, like Byron Buxton or Brian Buxton, whatever his name is, from Minnesota. Dude needs to get balls up in the air. He can't, like a lot of what needs to change in big league hitters is their intent. Once you change their intent, like Yonder Alonso, they have career years. And it's okay. Like data has given us information that says that stuff's okay. Like hit the ball off the top of the cage. Don't stay low in the cage. Drive the ball up at 20 degrees in the cage. Now, I know big league. There's still big leaguers that do that. I got that. I know. They're creating their own feel, so don't say, well, such as I know that, but they're still elevating balls in the game. So I think a lot of what needs to change in big leaguers, and certainly not Altuve, is just changing intent. Their intent's wrong. Their swings are off plane. Not crazy off plane, but they shouldn't be afraid to hit the ball in the air all the time. I think that's what Bryce Harper fights, honestly. I think Bryce Harper fights if he's still doing that pregame routine where he's just knobbing everything. Like, I think that's what he fights. Like, I don't know, I posted a graphic maybe this week or last week on Twitter about Bryce Harper. He loses a swing faster than his exit velocity goes down over time, like 3 miles an hour, and his barrel speed goes down like it's crazy. It's crazy, and his average goes in the tank at times. Like he's a strange hitter overall. Thoughts on head moving forward? Here's a couple on Twitter. What is the advantage of swinging weighted bats? It's all about the organization of the body. Once your body creates a pathway, a neural pathway to execute a movement, it's really hard to get your body to break that movement, especially in stressful environments, reactionary environments, such as in a game trying to swing the fastball. Your body's always just going to kind of default to what it knows best. And if you've always been moving in one way with one implement, then that's the way your body will do. Moving a different weighted implement and under the same intent just creates an environment where the body will organize a little differently, create new neural pathways, create and solidify movement patterns that you're trying to work on. That's the advantage of weighted bats, creating an environment of constant adaptability in your brain, in your body, not just putting balls on the tee and just mashing balls on the tee with the same bat and calling it practice. That is the advantage of weighted bats. Somebody asked another question. It was a good question on Periscope. They're starting to ask questions there. Can you demonstrate? On Twitter, on Instagram? Can you demonstrate the tipping of the barrel back and behind and then able to get in the zone? Are you trying to tip the barrel and rotate the hips, or are you focusing on snapping? So tipping the barrel back, that's a really complicated question. So let me try to unpack that. So do I try to actively accelerate my hips? Not a lot. Here's the question on Periscope, because now that I'm talking, I remember what he asked. Is a forward head movement okay? Yes. In your loading, from the top of your load forward, as long as when we look, like I watch a lot of big league swings, you will see no head movement at foot strike. Your head can move into foot strike, but once you get into foot strike, you don't get a whole lot of head movement. But you have to get forward head movement to create horizontal ground force that helps your hip unwind. You loaded and stretched into your hip, horizontal ground force just sets the kinetic chain off and allows the hip to accelerate. And then all you're trying to do from wherever your handset is you're trying to get your barrel kind of perpendicular to your spine wherever it is. You see, like Gary Sanchez is set right here, so he goes this way. Donaldson's set kind of right here, so he kind of goes back that way. Chris Bryant is set, and Mike Trout are way back here, so they go that way, and they perpendicular at different places to their spine. That's all. That's really getting it on. How you get it on plane is just where's your handset, and then how does it get on plane perpendicular to your spine in your turn, as the energy and speed is developing up from the ground up. That's all. Thoughts on rear leg or one leg hitting a la Teacher Man? I like it. I use it. A lot of what we do in rear leg work is with weighted bats, with really weighted bats. So, if you're in the online coaching and the player development program, and you've got the heavy bat constraint drills, a lot of what we do in that is heavy bats, like plus 16-ounce bats off your game weights in constraint drills. I really, really like the rear leg, the one leg, just understanding how the pelvis orients around and loads around the back leg, and then getting the barrel to organize. Because we hit it, this was a question from Instagram, we hit it into the, I'm going to flip the camera around, we hit balls into that wall right there. That's our plyo care ball, our plyo care wall. We hit balls into that. We try to get the ball into the top half of the wall, and we do the one leg. Don't do that, not exclusively what we do, but given that bat from that constraint position, getting the pelvis to orient around the back leg to try to figure out how to load and wind and get the body to organize to hit the ball up in the air. But they're good. They're good. Teacher Man's got a lot of good stuff. His internet delivery could be better, but he's got good stuff. I may get killed for saying that, but he does have good stuff. Anybody else have questions? We haven't done anything on Facebook, so I'm going to shut that down. Thanks for watching. If you watched, hopefully we'll do better. Share this around. Share this around. Shut that down. Anybody Periscope? Again, yeah, exactly. If you follow Teacher Man, you know what I'm talking about. Dude's good. Dude needs some work on the internet. He doesn't have to fight with everybody. Can top hand elbow get in front of your hands? Can top hand? No, that is the definition of a drag position. When your elbow kind of beats your hands in there to when your elbow kind of beats your hands in there to side, that's prototypical drag position. Losing your spacing, crunching your triangle, and then getting your elbow in there to your side. You're creating some swing plane, but you will never deliver a whole lot of acceleration, speed, and force into the ball from that position. You just kind of drag the barrel behind you. You're not really turning and pivoting the barrel and creating massive. How to avoid with young kids? It's something you see in young kids and girls. Guys can't make that. Guys can't make that. Brent, there's a Brent Rooker question on over here. Just hold that Brent Rooker question. How do you avoid? It's tough. Honestly, it's tough. Getting young kids and girls to kind of work against their own muscle laxity is what that is, really. Because guys, I've had one guy that can do it. Those kids that were in here earlier, Zach and Noah, know who I'm talking about. But I had one teenage kid that could do that. Everybody else, the Bat Drag Buster from Baseball Rebellion, that is a good product for fields to eliminate and keeping your spacing. I've put mini bands around kids' elbows. It's kind of the same premise for where you're just keeping your elbow spacing and keeping your hands kind of in the center of your elbows as you turn and pivot the barrel. You just got to keep that spacing. How you create feels off of that, I don't know. Again, that is a just try different things. Revolving around keeping your spacing and keeping your triangle. That's what you're trying to do. Again, there's no blanket concept that I can get you to that will help you like keep that spacing, because again, I have kids that figure that out quickly, and then I have kids who we still fight dragging the barrel. Like, it's not, I wish it were easy, but dragging the barrel it seems to clean up a little bit better in girls than it does young boys. It cleans up when they start to develop muscle, so it's not a big thing. You just like them to understand keeping their spacing and turning. Brent Rooker worked with Hunter Bledsoe. Hunter Bledsoe's fantastic. If you've seen the Josh Donaldson thing, Josh talks about Hunter too. Josh and Hunter worked together. Rooker worked with Hunter. Do I recommend starting in a hinge? Yes. Brent Rooker starts in a hinge, kind of coils, just slight coil, and just lets it unload behind the ball. It's awesome. He's playing in Elizabethton, which is close to here. I need to go see him play with 2 kids and a wife and clients all over the place. It's just hard for me to get time to go and watch games. I don't even watch that many games on TV just because I don't have time to watch a lot of TV. Anybody else with questions? There was one on Periscope after the Rooker question. I don't remember what it was. Anybody? It's like 9:45, 9:47 here. So if there are no more questions, then I will bounce out of here. I hope that you got information from this. Again, you can shoot me DMs. I want to do something here. I do need some feedback. Before I go. So this Sunday to Sunday thing is working really awesome. Like, I'm getting really good feedback during the week about it. I want to do something during the week. So what I've thought about doing, and I don't want to do big league swing breakdowns on YouTube. You can get those everywhere. They're all over the place. Great, go watch them. You know, you want to hear somebody talking about what a big leaguer does, great, that's fine. I don't really want to do like just me demonstrating stuff. I like Q&A. I like question and answer. So I thought about doing just a Tuesday or a Wednesday question and answer, like just Twitter question and answer on my YouTube page, just like 5 minutes of question and answer. People sent me questions that I thought could be useful to you. If you have any thoughts about anything you'd like to see in this format during the week, let me know. Shoot me a DM or shoot me an email. Some of you have my phone number. The people in the online coaching and player development program have my phone number. Shoot me a text, things you'd like to see. If you're still on the fence about the player development program, again, DM me, shoot me stuff. I'd like to help you out. Use the programs that we use in here. Use the training programs in here. I've got the weighted ball and long tossing program to go in there. It was going to go in there before I went live tonight. I just didn't finish the last 4 weeks. It'll go in there in the morning. So the people that are in the program, you have all of our weighted bat and long tossing programs now. It will be in there in the morning. And then if you don't have it yet, again, that's another piece of content that I'm putting in there for your training. So the player development program is just simply a roadmap to get measurably better. That's all. It's a 12-week weightlifting programming. It's heavy bat, weighted bat hitting programs. It's stability, mobility programs. It's the programs that I use because I get questions all the time. I wish you were in Omaha, Nebraska. Well, I can't be everywhere. So I'm putting the programs that I use with the philosophies and content that I use them on the internet. It's $125 for 1 year of access to the programs, to me, to kind of guide and direct your roadmap as a player developing measurable skill. You obviously won't have, if you've got access to hit tracks, great, you can do your own measurements like exit velocity measurements to make sure that you're getting better. That's what we do. That's why I know the programs work, because we measure them in my own training of the guys that we have here. We measure it on the hit tracks, and it has proven results. And it will work. It will work if you just follow it and let me help you with all of your stuff. That's all. You know, all the clients, they send me video. Hey, how's this swing looking? How's this drill looking? I make phone calls. I call all. If you have questions that I can't answer in an email or a text, I'll call you. I had 6, 7, 10 phone conversations this week, some of which were an hour long with people, just trying to help them figure out their training and their work. And a couple of them, I don't know if you saw the kid from Orlando I posted on my Twitter account yesterday. He's really starting to turn the barrel nicely. He was severely pushed and off playing, but he's getting there. You don't need somebody, you don't need a coach to stand next to you and cue you all the time, okay? That's a misunderstanding of what the role of a coach is. You don't need somebody to tell you every single swing what you did wrong. You need to get away from that. If that's your thought process, that you need somebody to tell you when you do something wrong, it's not that simple. And if people try to sell you hitting as something that is that simple, it's just not that simple, okay? You got to go. You got to understand what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, and then you got to go figure it out. That's what that program is. That's all that program is trying to help you understand what you need to do to get the ball up in the air, and then go and practice it with weighted bats and weighted balls and light bats, and just create an environment where muscle adapts and brain adapts differently. It works because I have a hit tracks. Why did more people don't do weighted bat training? Because nobody really knows if it works unless you test exit velocity every week, which we do. And again, it's like throwing weighted ball programs and throwing velocity. It's not a straight line, but it trends upward. If you want to see, I've sent somebody. If somebody said, well, "Why should I do this?" Well, it works. If you want to see results from players that are your age, guy or girl, that are in the program, I'll be glad to send you their 6-month exit velocity charts to show you that they improved upwards. Doing it, that most of the people get stronger. Once you get stronger in your bench squat and your deadlift, and once you start swinging the heavy bat and organizing better, you become a better hitter. I think we're done on Periscope. I'll hang out just a couple more minutes on Instagram. Again, Instagram is wearing out. I got like 1,000 views on Periscope last week, so people watch on Periscope. It's just they're not real active. So I appreciate you coming in. I hope that you enjoyed this week, and I'm going to end Periscope and hang out just a couple more minutes on Instagram.